Honestly, I think the story is better told this way, right? That we're multitasking, doing
Oh,
so much.
sure.
All right. I want to welcome everybody to the Commission on Social Innovations Public Capital Committee meeting, February 5th at 11 a.m. This virtual meeting, I want to call it to order at 11 a.m. And just again, want to welcome everybody, and I would like to do a roll call at this time. Before I do that, I just want to kind of open up with the statement that pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, the quorum of the members who have been appointed to the commission will constitute a quorum for this committee. And so therefore, I know we're a little bit of a smaller, group, but I will go ahead and do the roll call. We'll go ahead in order. Patrick Brutus.
Present.
Christy De Laurentiis.
Present.
All right, then that is at this time the structure of the Public Capital Committee. And so we do have a quorum, and we will now move to any public comments. Anyone in the public that is available that would like to make any comments?
We did not receive any public comment for this meeting.
Okay, thank you. So with no public comments available, then we will move to the next item, which is the minutes of the last meeting that I was not able to get those out to Patrick and Christy, so we'll have to use the next meeting to approve our previous meeting in November. So I will send that, and that will be part of our next committee meeting's agenda. So that vote will not need to take place at this meeting. Then the next item on the agenda is for me to just kind of give a little bit of the updates of what's been kind of taking place. I kind of shared a little bit about how some of the formalities of the social innovation overall group has really wanted to make sure that we kind of looked at the 2021 schedule and look as to what commitments that need to be made with a lot of the or the committees getting together, and what would be a good kind of a rhythm of when these meetings should take place. And we have now moved to a bi-monthly gathering of the overall committee. And so that, again, was kind of based on getting feedback from the commission members that felt that the opportunity to have the monthly meetings and the committee meetings taking place made it a little bit challenging to have some of those committee meetings take place. And so we are hoping that now with the every 2-month large gathering, that there will be opportunities for this committee to be able to have a lot more of those substantive kind of discussions, things that I know, again, we were kind of discussing before this meeting, the greatness of the things that are happening in and around this region in the public capital space. So I'm hoping that we kind of build upon that agenda later on today. But that's kind of the main report that I wanted to give, is just that overall cadence to the larger committee or larger group structure. So that's one of the updates. Then the other update is, I know that there's been some discussion technically. I know we've had one other committee member that is no longer part of the committee. That was due to a change in his position. That there was at the Port Authority's executive director, Clayton Harris, has moved on. Again, as someone that I've known, I think he moved to a place that he was very happy that he can be a part of the Lyft corporate structure, and has been very happy, in that role, and what I have to double check, but he's moved on to a rideshare company. I want to make sure I get that name right. It's been a little while here since he said no, but with that vacancy, I know that I have been discussing some opportunity of some other members joining our committee. So I did talk to Chair Anaya, and there'll be, the possibility of some folks that will be, joining our committee. So more information on that to come. So that's really the main, couple topics that I wanted to update you on, and then just really look forward to, as we basically turn the calendar in 2020. I went to bed early New Year's Eve. I just could not wait to basically, usher in the new year. So I was very happy that, we are in 2021. I think some of you you may have heard, I very much a subscriber to how we, spend money here at the county to do a lot more of the analysis of the weather and how this winter was panning out. Everyone kind of had predicted that we were going to have a warmer than, average November, December. January was going to be average, and then February was going to make up the difference of the amount of snowfall in Chicagoland, which is 36 to 40 inches annually. And the temperatures are going to kind of start to make up for the warmth that we had. So February is the bear month, along with March being a little below average, and unfortunately April. So we're not going to have a spring, and everything's playing out that way. So that said, here in this month of February, obviously, please again, with all the things that are going on with these, snow forecasts, heed those warnings and make some indoor plans for the rest of the month, because it's going to be a bad one. So with that, I'd love to hear a little bit of what's going on in some of your little universes. So either Patrick, Christy would like to be able to give any updates or some happenings that you guys are a part of.
Okay, I was waiting for Christy to go first, I suppose, but okay. Thank you, Chairman Yonan, Commissioner De Laurentiis, and our practitioners who are on staff with the Commissioner Anaya. Happy New Year. Glad to be here. I'm glad to see that we're all safe, free from the virus, sheltering in place, making sure that our families are following all the safety protocols that are being advised by public agencies who have only the best interest at heart for the citizenry of the county as well as the city. So glad to see you all are in good health, and it's a pleasure to be here today meeting with all of us, all of you all today. So I'm glad to report that the state of the Brutus household is good. We're strong, and we're all healthy here and doing our best on Chicago's South Side. So in my scope, as you all know, I work for the Department of Planning with the City of Chicago. And, currently we are working to revitalize 12 commercial corridors in 10 strategically identified community areas on Chicago's south and west sides under the Invest Southwest program initiative, which is being led by the mayor and her wonderful vision for economic development and transformation in Chicago's most at-risk and disinvested neighborhoods. And in my particular scope, I work in the Auburn-Gresham community in the Southeast region. And so we're working very hard to transform this community with visionary projects. We have a lot of opportunity. I'm happy to announce that the Metro project, which is a new station being led by the RTA at 79th and Low, is underway. So that project is going to be a 3-year project, $30 million plus investment, capital investment, and that will bring high-speed rail to that community and be able to transport the people who live, work, and play in that neighborhood downtown and beyond, and giving them high quality access to jobs. And this infrastructure project is exactly what we work with here at this commission, within the scope of the county, but nevertheless, public capital and infrastructure projects, meant to improve the quality of life for all the citizens. And so however we can do that, and actually have that also be, an ancillary way to do the other things that we need to do in these communities to improve the quality of life for all the residents is also the best impactful way, because capital investments equal jobs, equals improving the tax base, bringing people into neighborhoods so that they can shop and keep leakage out from going out. And just all these things are great. So I'm happy to be part of that. Happy to be working in the Invest Southwest program with the city of Chicago. And again, happy to be here today, trying to make a difference here in the county of Cook to bring forth transformation through our public capital investment committee. Thank you, Commissioner Yonan, for allowing me to speak.
No, absolutely. And Patrick, thank you for that update on that particular project. As you said, a committee like ours, can at least kind of build upon the story of an earmarked project that, decades ago was, Senator Collins'
Yes.
priority, and for a very long time, a collaborative effort, with the city and Metra, just didn't bring the realization of that project together. And I think, again, there has been some great leadership recently to have kind of pushed that commitment forward, because it was stalled. And
Yes.
I do remember that there was just an incredible reluctancy of some of the other service boards to really make the commitment of this station. So that is a great project. And as you said, part of this West-Southwest effort, that it truly is going to revitalize that area.
And I would be remiss if and I forgot to mention also, and I would be remiss to say that the president of the county has also pledged her commitment to this project as well, to provide some impact lowered fees that would help the commuters once this station gets launched, and ribbon cutting and all that. And so that's also a great commitment, synergizing the city, the state, as well as the county, to make sure that, again, Senator Collins, Alderman Moore, all the the leaders in this community, all arrows pointing the same direction.
Yeah, and that's the way it's supposed to be. And definitely we'll talk a little bit about that, later on. But there was, again, a true commitment even on our part that if Metra and some of the design, was going to be a complex design, some commitments on the right of way, Patrick, that we said we would be at the table. And the great thing is a capital bill did then get passed after the commitment to build this was made. And so although it's not a money issue now for the overall cost of construction, some of the challenges, once again, with, they're making sure that that type of infill development happens. And please, keep us in, touch with, any of those kind of opportunities, because there, of course, along 79th Street there, quite a bit of that investment in some of the streetscape, some of the other infrastructure that I know was also a priority. So we're really excited about this 3-year, project, and kind of keep us updated on some of the other development that happens in that corridor.
Hi, well, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. Christy DeLaurentis, I represent the South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association, which is a council of government that has 45 municipal members, 39 of which are within Cook County. And we're in the south suburbs, just immediately south of the, abutting the border of the city proper. So we have some of the same challenges that are facing the communities that Patrick spoke about, where there's been long historic divestment, institutionalized racism, and challenges with our underlying tax rates and some of the cost of doing business in our communities because of the tax burden with closed and shuttered manufacturers, et cetera. Some of the historic challenges that the South Suburban community has had. So COVID exacerbated all of the challenges that we had. This last year was very difficult for many of my municipalities and their residents, the constituents within the south suburbs. And that number is pushing about 750,000 people within my jurisdiction. So there's a lot of residents that are being served by the various municipalities and the county. And so we've long partnered on a multi-year initiative with Cook County known as the South Suburban Economic Growth Initiative. This is a priority, has been a priority of President Preckwinkle and all of the departments, because literally the work that we're trying to conduct in the south suburbs has infrastructure and transportation needs. It's got community and housing objectives. We've got a broadband initiative underway. So that's, we're often, myself and my team are often interfacing with all the various departments within the county. And so we really appreciate all the collaboration and thoughtfulness that our greater, the greater team that is working on this initiative. I wanted to just mention, because we're extraordinarily appreciative that the county devised an equity-based allocation for the Corona Relief Funds. So they understood that various communities were disproportionately impacted by COVID, by underlying health conditions, by access to health care, and some of the other challenges that were associated with survival of COVID and really being able to recover. So our south suburbs were able to secure their reimbursements already. Many of them have received them from the county, so we appreciate the partnership in that regard. And then also wanted just to say that we've been, we SSMMA, with county support, have been active advocates for the Southland Development Authority. That's a new institution that was created that really resulted out of a broad collaboration between between government, nonprofit, and other interests to stand up an institution in the south suburbs that could help individual businesses and spur transformative growth. When they were first formed in 2019, of course, we had no idea that that COVID was going to be the biggest challenge facing us in 2020. But they were able to pivot and address the challenges of COVID, and they have been supporting hundreds of businesses in the south suburbs secure payroll protection and other loans to keep those businesses stable and growing into the future. So just so again, a very close allegiance with the county and with municipal members at the table. Obviously, this is really important to us. And in terms of this particular group that I'm serving on here now, I wanted just to talk about some of the infrastructure efforts that are underway in the south suburbs. As you mentioned, the metro station and the Capitol Bill, we had numerous projects included in the Capitol Bill last year. Really, our focus for South Suburban mayors and managers is to try to make sure that those projects are moving forward towards implementation. So they've been, identified. There's recognized projects that have been slated. Now the challenge is for us to make sure that they move forward and actually come to fruition. So we're going to be focusing a lot of our attention this year to get those things done, and then to make sure that as new projects come online, that we're ready to stand those up as well. We're paying close attention to what's happening with the Biden administration and some of the transportation dollars that he's interested in pledging. And in recognition of Transit Equity Day yesterday, we're certainly committed to trying to ensure that the Fair Transit pilot and other investments along the backbone of our communities in the south suburbs. The transit line, the metro lines, are fully actualized. So we want to make sure that we're looking at transit-oriented development initiatives and building kind of those walkable, highly desirable communities around our transit assets. And I'll stop there. The only other thing that I want to say, I want to express appreciation to John Yonan and his team at the Department of Transportation and Highways. The Invest and Cook program has been really well subscribed to by the South suburban municipalities, and we've got several projects that are really, have been very important to the municipalities specifically. But more importantly, I think they advance our region and access to, transportation for residents. So again, kind of tying it back to the community that we're serving, I want to specifically say that SSMMA was involved in an initiative on behalf of 2 of our municipalities that was a freight study that was supported by Invest and Cook. We finished that last year. We're moving, one of the municipalities is moving forward with a quiet zone implementation supported by Invest and Cook. And the community has been bisected by a rail line. It grew up, decades ago on a rail corridor that served it well in its early days. And obviously now with all of the freight traffic that's coming into the Chicago region, they've really struggled, and it's impacted housing values and other business concerned in terms of access. So we, with the support of the county, got involved in this project in 2017 and 18, and then the study was conducted. It's moving forward in an implementation. So for the first time, the residents are not going to hear the whistles every time a train comes through, and yet we'll have a solution that's recognizable as safe and not stymieing the movement of freight through that community. So what I want to say is that we're hearing back at our office and through the mayor's, the impacted communities, mayoral offices, how appreciative the community residents are, that we SSMMA tried to shepherd this along, and the county very, very tactically said this is important to the overall freight ecosystem. And so we need to support this, but we also need to recognize that the benefits have to accrue to the residents as well. So this was really a win-win. We're not quite done yet, but we've got the opportunity to do so because of the county's funding that's going into these projects. So extraordinarily happy about that. And there's a lot of these smaller stories to tell about where the county has I'll say inserted themselves or been invited to participate, that all of a sudden starts transforming, the possibilities of what the solutions can look like because of, their ability to leverage resources that individual communities, neighborhoods, and even municipalities could not do on their own. So just wanted to express my appreciation about that, but know that we have a lot more work to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, update. And really the timing, as you said, with the Biden administration, some opportunities on the federal side to be able to look for opportunities. And I think, again, for this committee, when we look at, public infrastructure and the value and those strategic investments, we know that in 2009 and the talk of the possible stimulus funding, that money kind of came through basically the federal allocation of how surface transportation dollars were to get distributed, and there back then, and I hope some lessons learned of we've got to spend the money right away, really ended up going and doing quite a bit of of road resurfacing as opposed to looking at, as we mentioned, some transit-oriented development opportunities, some the projects that we know may take a little bit more time. And that is what we're all trying to advocate, is that there's a little more time to try to spend any of this stimulus money to try to get it done in one construction season. Unfortunately, I hope is a lesson that they've learned is really not the best way for some of these infrastructure dollars to, be invested. And that is what we're advocating for. And I think, for, us again, our public, capital committee to continue to advocate for a more robust, infrastructure package that, yes, it's important to get some projects moving, but not just, go and resurface a bunch of roadways. I think that, message was something that, we made clear back in 2009, and we want to make sure that is a consistent message in this region, that we have some projects that might be 2-3 years in the making, but are worth, taking our time and doing it right. So I'll make a little note of that. And any comments on that and all, and stimulus, Patrick, Christy, that you guys know of, any talk of projects that you want to align?
Patrick, if I may, I'll jump right in. We're actually taking a look at what we assembled in 2019 and updated in 2020 capital needs from our member municipalities that included not only transportation, which, roads, bridges, transit, anything, again, within that transportation realm, but also other infrastructure like water, water-related needs, et cetera. So we're in the process of updating that now. We anticipate we'll have that done by next week. So we want to be poised and ready with projects that haven't made it into the capital bill, that's still outstanding, and then look for opportunities. So we're already, letting our federal delegation know that we'll have this list ready, sorted by municipalities, and then aggregated, and then we'll include regional projects in that as well. So we've done that in the past. Last year, for example, the Metro Electric, fair transit mobility study was highlighted, and especially the increased cost for improved service was also identified, and we captured the cost that was estimated for that, included in some, in our regional projects. So we'll do that again, and then share that with the members of this committee so that you're aware of them. And many of them, I think, are complementary to what we're trying to do. We're working on, physical improvements that I think can not only benefit our region, the SSMMA region, but really serve to remove some of the barriers for investments that will then spur other activity within our, kind of the south side of Chicago and the greater Cook County area.
Yeah, I fully concur with the work that Christy's doing over at SSMMA to really ensure that these dollars trickle down into these, communities to, really provide a source for, a lot of different types of projects. And we're, all keeping an eye on the current administration to make sure, what the state can get so that the state can then, appropriate where necessary. And, here in the city, obviously we're looking for projects, not necessarily only transportation projects, because that's where it mostly funnels through, but we're looking for, state funding that comes from the feds, but when and where we can redevelop brownfields for environmental remediation, things of that nature. And also, for the projects that, our sister agencies and other governmental units are doing, such as planning studies and what have you. Those also assist, some of the great short and long-term planning work that we do at the city. And so we're very hopeful for some of these projects that, can get state funding through the federal government to really source their capital stacks so that we can actually see, more viability and sustainability to these projects that propose transformation in our communities all over the city, obviously, but certainly, you know, in the county of Cook as well. So we all stand ready to, you know, do what we can to push the administration at the federal level to bring home the money. So we, you know, we are keeping a close eye on our congressmen and to see when and where they're, you know, looking to bring home the bacon, as it were, to our districts.
Well, and that would be great, Christy, if we could kind of, again, as you said, share that list, and we'll just kind of incorporate that into some of the, if not the minutes this time, at least just kind of have that as part of one of our deliverables that we know that, again, our former leadership as part of, you know, social innovation is playing a very, you know, prestigious role in the Transportation Committee. Congressman Chuy Garcia is very much, you know, a rising star in the transportation space in USDOT. And so I think it would be really great if we can kind of get a little package of opportunity projects that we could have Chairwoman Anaya perhaps, you know, send a memo or a list of those kind of projects to Congressman Garcia. So let's jump on that opportunity.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, we really have a stronger chance now more than ever, now that the Illinois delegation, you know, really, as the House is in control with the Democrats, we have a really stronger chance this session to really see a lot of fruit for the labor. You know, so we're really hoping that, again, Congressman Chuy can help lead the Illinois delegation to really bring home some transformative dollars to put to the state and county, as well as the city. But yeah, this is a great opportunity for all of us to win.
Yeah. And please do, Patrick, if there are some things we can share in that as well, that would be something we could work on between now and maybe before our next large committee meeting, that we can have that list and then I could report on that. That'd be great. All right. Well, thank you for these updates. Then we're going to move to number 3 on the agenda, which is the Invest in Cook Fair Transit, kind of an update, but also what, you know, we really want to use, you know, this committee to advocate for. And, you know, as we kind of in our little press piece and what rolled out in January 4th was the fact that one part of the 3 strategies that were going to make the, you know, fair transit successful was reducing fares, giving, again, that opportunity to have the interoperable kind of transfer between the, you know, different service boards, and then an improved service, increased service, however that was going to look, we would have enough of the metrics as all 3 of these kind of rolled out. And what we really want to continue to have this committee advocate for is the importance of having those, you know, interoperable type of technologies rolling out. And what I can tell you is right now, again, it's great that we've been able to, you know, under the president's leadership, really work closely with Metra to, you know, come up with whatever kind of amount of the fare card, you know, that some new transit, you know, riders are using Metra and fund that, you know, difference. But we know, again, you know, there is a need for folks when they're making the decision of riding Metra and then they end up downtown, but then they might need to jump on a CTA bus or, you know, one of the train lines from downtown, that there is, again, this incentive for them now to have to pay, you know, a entire CTA fee to be able to ride that service. So it is really, really critical right now for us to get, you know, the service boards and our advocacy to ensure that we have an integrated fare card system as a priority, that, you know, not not only RTA ensuring that, you know, CTA, Metra, PACE are kind of moving in that direction, but, you know, all indications and the things that we're hearing is that CTA really holds a big part of that technology, you know, kind of advancement. And so we want to make sure, again, we, in our efforts and the things that we're talking about, this is just one step of fair transit, of reducing fares that is important, but that is a real key element. And right now, you know, again, we don't know when that would possibly be rolling out, and we want to make sure we kind of continue to make our advocate voice known that we really want to see an integrated fare card system kind of underway. We're not saying, give us a date when it's actually going to go live, but who's working on it? Is that something that, will take technology and an RFP that, may need to go out, or a contract awarded at 6 to 8 months? Unfortunately, we don't know any of that information right now. And so what we've been saying all along is, will just someone commit to getting that process started? And so that is where we are. And I just want to make sure, again, this committee, has that platform to continue to advocate for that integrated fare card system to become a reality, for our service boards. So that's kind of where we are in that. I open it up for any comments that you may have on that, or any questions on the Fair Transit program.
Just again, that it's a really important connector for the south suburbs, that Metro Electric line and the Rock Island line as well. So I want to make sure that anyone who's listening, it's not just Metro Electric, it's Rock Island. So that system has reduced fares all the way into Will County and that one is coming into the West Loop. So different constituents typically use that, but we want to make sure that, as you just heard, that it's that we're really utilizing the opportunity of this pilot initiative to advance some of these larger goals for the Metro system entirety, and also integrating that in with PACE. Oh, and part of the Fair Transit mobility study we shouldn't forget is that bus line. I think it's 352. That is a pulse bus line, and they've increased service and really are connecting transportation centers in Harvey and in Chicago Heights to ensure that individuals who utilize those hubs are able to navigate around the system. So it's important to make sure that everyone's recognizing PACE's commitment to this initiative as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just in alignment with that, we're doing we're seeing the work of a Halsted bus study, the South Halsted bus study, from 79th and Halsted going south into, at the end of the line here. But certainly for our part in our community in Auburn Gresham, we're seeing some of the work and the analysis go into that as well. John, Commissioner Yonan, thank you for laying out the initiatives behind the Fair Transit rollout. When is the effective date of the program? I don't think you put that in there for us.
So, yeah, absolutely. So the Fair Transit program rolled out on January 4th of this year, where right on January 4th, the little press release did come out that we were going to be reducing the Metro fares on the Metro Electric and the Rock Island. So that is, in effect right now, and it's a 3-year pilot. So we'll be going through 22, 23, the whole year. And what we said all along is it's a 3-year pilot. We're gathering data, we're looking at everything. And, at that point, we'll evaluate where we go after that. But that is underway. But again, this isn't intended just to be a subsidy of transit. We want to make transit a option with, as I said, the commuting downtown, and then where do I go next? And I don't want to pay a full fare. And how could we make technology allow all modes of these transit options to be, something that, riders would, be able to have a choice. So that part of this, we don't have any, rollout date for that integrated.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the clarification. Thank you, John.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. And then just on that, we kind of mentioned the Invest in Cook. Christy, really for this meeting, just wanted to make the announcement, and Patrick, this is out there for the city of Chicago as well, that the applications for Invest in Cook, which kind of breaks down to roughly about $500,000 for each commissioner district, is currently open for applications to be submitted. And that is on the Cook County website. Applicants need to be a municipality or an agency that Cook County government can enter into an intergovernmental agreement with. and the application period closes, I think it's March 15th, and then the evaluation will take place by Department of Transportation and Highway staff, along with folks from CMAP and other resources, to then come up with the list of projects that will be receiving those funds. So again, we want to get that word out. I know, Christy, thank you for your partnership to make sure that South Suburban mayors and managers and those who want to submit that application, not only for the projects that, and there's only one application per municipality, but if the region itself and those regionally significant projects, could also be something that Christy and her team were successful by submitting it as a council of governments. And Patrick, in the city of Chicago, CDOT has done a number of applications in the past. And again, we look to see what under the new commissioner of CDOT this year, she wasn't commissioner last year when the applications were due. Commissioner Biaggi
Yeah,
in contact with our team as well.
Yep.
So that's the little update on the investing. So
Yeah,
then
I'll mention it, subtly to Kevin O'Malley and those guys. So
great.
Okay.
All right. So then that brings us to the item agenda number 4, which was, again, we kind of talked about some of the initiatives in our updates, but is there any other new initiatives that you would like to discuss at this time?
I just wanted to share with this committee, because SSMMA has provided information to, I think, the full committee before about our Southland Reactivation Initiative, which is a legislative proposal in Springfield. Last year, we didn't, because of COVID and the termination of most of the activity last year, that piece of legislation didn't advance, and we are reintroducing that again in the 102nd General Assembly. This would be a pilot initiative that would lower the property tax burden for properties that had languished in the south suburbs within 6 townships. So we're partnering with the Cook County Land Bank and the South Suburban Land Bank and Development Authority so that we can successfully take abandoned properties or properties that the municipalities have acquired and put them back on the tax rolls. So stay tuned. We'll keep everybody apprised of how that's going. I don't have a bill yet, bill number yet, because it's being drafted right now. As soon as we do, I'll share that with everyone. And then we'd be looking for a broad bipartisan support for that going forward.
So, Christy, thank you for bringing that up. And I know that, transportation, some other county officials under Maria's leadership in the past were carving some stuff. And obviously, a little kind of saddened in her retirement that we really have not, that I'm aware of, anything going on our end. But would it be possible that, we can put perhaps that legislative, kind of intent on the agenda for our next, larger gathering of the social innovation, that you could perhaps give an update and see if, Chairwoman would like kind of that to be an initiative that we would kind of move forward to support, and kind of open it up to the other commissioners for comments and ideas, if you could walk us through it.
Sure. I think I think there had been a motion on the floor to support it in last year at some point.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd welcome the opportunity to do that again and just kind of reflect on the lessons learned and what we're trying to accomplish to try to be a tool that we can harness in our region, utilizing the land banks, and then also serve as a model for others, because we're not unique in kind of having some of these blighted properties that are just too costly to remediate and bring back into productive good reuse. So we've really worked hard to try to create something that we think is going to be useful, and at the end of the day really serve as a an added attraction to potential investors in our communities that may not look otherwise. So would welcome that opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just one thing that you may not be aware of, I know that something that Department of Transportation Highways, and Maria, you mentioned, had spent an awful lot of time on the Lincoln Highway Corridor study initiative and a lot of the work that went in there. There is a feature that is, and I'm not sure who's actually initiating it, but the related to opportunity zones in the area, and they're going to be featuring it, I believe, in March. It might be March 4th. I know I just got a notice of it yesterday or the day before and signed up for it. So they're taking a consortium of individuals are through the Opportunity Zone Development Corporation are looking at opportunity zones within the Chicago region, and they're featuring different sub areas. Yesterday was the medical district and county hospital and some other adjacent parcels. Next week, or in a couple weeks, there's another location that is being looked at, and then in early March will be the Lincoln Highway Corridor. But it was all of that research and the identification of the parcels originated in your department. So if you're not aware of that, you should at least let all your colleagues. I saw it and I hadn't had a heads up either, so I was kind of surprised, but I signed up for it. So I'll forward it, the notice to you, and then if you could get it out to other members, that would be great.
Thank you. So I will let you know to get on the agenda that you can just do a quick. Well, either way, just be prepared to give an update because it could come in the updating.
That would be great. Oh, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not certain this next meeting. No, this next meeting is good. Last meeting, I always have a conflict every so often, but next meeting should be good.
Okay. All right. Well, and there's a couple minutes left here, but is there any other items that we want to cover under the new initiatives?
None for me.
All good, Patrick? Okay. Then I would ask for, there are other items to discuss, and ask for a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Do I have to speak on the motion? I just had a question that we've been kind of going back and forth on the chat with respect to people on Facebook, asking us questions or making comments. I know we're past the public comment period, but is there a mechanism for this body to entertain comments, remarks, or questions from the social media audience that's following this committee meeting right now?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't see any of the specifics. So I don't have that Facebook technology, Patrick, to be honest. So I don't know, Yesenia, if you're the one that is typing some of these notes, if there's any feedback that you have to Patrick's
This is Victoria with the commissioner staff. So our office has been instructed to follow the same protocols as if it were an in-person meeting. And so we would only follow the regular public comment period, which is when individuals can submit comment up to 24 hours before the meeting. And we provide the instructions and the email address for that. And then they would each have a 3-minute limit. They can't be read out loud at the time of the meeting when that agenda item is brought up.
Okay. All right.
Anyone is free to make comments on the Facebook. However, they wouldn't be able to be read out loud or to be given a space during the meeting.
So we can only entertain, and thank you, Victoria, for answering the question, because I think, it helps with our transparency with respect to entertaining comments from either in-person meeting or online meeting and all the different vehicles that we're transmitting this meeting to and from. So just to recap, the people on social media can only register in advance and inform us of their questions that we would then entertain in the public comment period at our next meeting or at
Correct.
subsequent meetings
Yes.
during the
And those
public comment
instructions
period.
are
Okay.
those instructions are posted on the Legistar and also on this Facebook page when the meeting is posted.
Okay. Thank you, Victoria. Then I second the motion to adjourn made by Commissioner De Laurentiis.
Well, thank you. We've got a motion and a second. Then we'll go ahead and wrap up this meeting, and thank you, and have at 12:01 the meeting wraps up, and have a good rest of the day, and we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.